Welcome, everybody, to Campaigns and Concoctions, where we are two dastardly debutantes who like to drink and play TTRPGs. Woo! I lost myself on that one. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Today, we're not doing cooperative storytelling, but as always, if you would like to engage with us in a more interactive fashion, please click the links below. Point. Today is episode 6. There's the camera. Episode 6 in our intro series, and today we've got the last but not least, Curtis, my dude. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd say today's been going pretty well. I'm excited to alleviate some internet shame and be the last person to finish their interview. So that's good.
The good thing is that won't make sense for people until they watch the next episode, since this is dropping before that. This will be
correct.
Dropping. So if you're watching this, we're recording this today on the 12th of August. It'll be dropping on the 14th of August. Today is the day that Jared's dropped. I thought it was one of my favorites so far. It's almost just gotten better every time. So Curtis, you got a lot to live up with, man, or live up to. Are you ready for this?
No, but that's never stopped us in the past, has it?
No, it really hasn't. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what we're drinking tonight?
Oh, all right. Well, I made a beverage tonight that has 2 ounces of Balmer Peak Aspen Gin, half an ounce of Italicus, half an ounce of our yellow chartreuse substitute, which I don't want to try and rename, and then 2 dashes of Peychaud's stirred and dirty dumped into a rocks glass, and I'm really enjoying it. Nate thought it was pretty good, so I think we're good to go. I think the name needs to be like
Shame.
Internet Shame is a great name. Mm-hmm. Internet Shame is a fantastic name for this drink.
So we're gonna have to make sure we'll try and post links. We'll try and make sure we post that in the Discord. It does look quite lovely. I'm very simple tonight because as I have in the last 2 weeks moved, and that included a conference out of state. I am currently drinking Melvin's double IPA. It is
the 2x4 is good.
I don't even like double IPAs, and this is just absolutely amazing.
They make great stuff.
But you better be careful, because if you go too fast, it will fuck you up. So, with that all being said, though, Curtis, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got into TTRPGs?
Well, I think my first experience with TTRPGs was when I was in either 5th or 6th grade living in Germany on base, and I went to the base PX where they had like a library, a bookstore, and they were selling Mech Warrior. And I was like, dude, I want to do that, whatever that is. That looks cool as hell. The art was fantastic. It was robots. I was like, yes, let's do this. And I bought this box, and it had a whole bunch of cardboard cutouts and stuff in it. And I was looking at it, and I was like, this is too much. That I don't know what happened to that game, but like that game just disappeared into the nether probably on one of our moves as a family. But yeah, I think my first experience was TTRPGs, was looking at it and going like, I can't. I need help. I need help. I can't just figure this out for my damn self. So, and that was back in the days before anything. There was no internet, nothing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then my next interaction with TTRPGs was a good friend of mine, you might know him, named Nate, was like, hey, I'm getting a D&D game together. And I was like, yes. Before you say any other words, I've been wanting to do this for decades now.
Which then led you to walking into the bar and telling Matt that you upgraded your nerd status, which was our very first story, because Matt's was first. So we're now coming full circle, which is kind of fun. I'm glad that it worked out this way.
It wasn't too much longer after I started playing. So I think it was only like a few weeks later. I was like, Matt, I'm doing this thing. And he's like, can I play? I'm like, yeah, you definitely can. Let's figure this out. And we did. Now we're here.
Perfect. Yep. Now, I'm going to ask you something that I haven't asked anyone else. Really, only one other person could ask. What is it like to balance this mess that we have, the podcast, the D&D, everything, with also being a dad and a husband? Like, what is it like for you to have to try and balance that? I know it's hard. It's a tough question.
Yeah.
I probably should have asked Jared that, but his rolled a little bit easier with his
Yeah.
conflicts in the religion. So
I think that for me, um, I would say that there's a lot of a shame associated with doing this, making this a weekly occurrence, spending 3 to 4 hours sometimes doing time away with my friends. I believe that I am the reason it's every other week and not a weekly game. I think it's from the beginning. I was like, there's no way Michelle's gonna go for two for every week. Like this is not. And for a while, it was actually it was a problem in our marriage where I wanted to do this thing, and we had a new baby at home, and the hardest time that I had with this game was when in your first game with us, where I was the DM and I was doing all this extra prep work and stuff, and she's jealous for me. She wants my time, and the kids want my time, and they deserve my time. And so, every 2 weeks for 3 hours after they're already asleep, that's kind of okay. But it used to be that we would do it on Sunday afternoons, and that was taken away from our weekly family time. And Michelle works weekends a lot of the time because she's a registered nurse, and she used to work nights, and now she works 5 to 5, and it's hard to find the time for everybody in my family. And having shifted to, I would say, I'm going to give advice because that's what I do. But like, if you want to do this and you want to have kids and have a family and make it work, you definitely need to make it regular. You definitely need to try and find a time where you're not taking away from something else as much as possible. And I think that was the biggest help, was switching it to a late evening game on a Sunday for me. And so, yeah, I would say it's hard. It brings a lot of shame, and the less I do with it, the better. So for my marriage.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I was trying to get out of that, but I'll take it.
Well, those are the feelings that come, man. That's like when I think about how it relates, it's shame's top of the list.
I appreciate the honesty, man. If there's one thing I hope our listeners and our watchers really understand, that we don't sugarcoat shit here in Campaigns and Concoctions. Like, it's real. Like, the emotions that you see when we play are real. The emotions when we're talking, just like when we're just the homies. Sometimes you feel my frustration with the players. I'm sure you feel the frustration of them with me. Because a lot of times this is a chance for us to try and relieve some of the tension that we have in our regular lives.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I throw people for a fucking loop because it becomes too real. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's part of it. It's like, it's why the joke is that D&D is therapy, right? That we can talk about these things and we can do these things. And,
Well, I talk to my therapist about D&D off and on. Like, I wouldn't say it's a weekly occurrence, but a monthly occurrence. I'll talk about the time I have with these guys. Well, like, I did decompress a little bit with my buddies at D&D, and he's like, "Oh, that's great. That's good that you're able to kind of talk that through." Was that in game or out of game?
Also, friends and family, do not replace therapy with D&D.
No.
Go to therapy. Yes. Even if you don't think you need it, you need it. We all
and keep trying. If it didn't work, like, I've been to 3 different therapists that I wouldn't go back to, and one of them I would be like, they're good therapists, they're just not for me. But like keep going until you find one that works. I asked a friend, and their therapist just happened to be a good therapist for me as well. So
also,
do it.
Curtis and I are the old heads of the group, so this is why it kind of divulges into dad talk.
Yeah.
Because
you're the oldest head.
I am the oldest head
by like 7 or 8 days. What is it?
I think it's almost 20 days actually.
Well, mine's the 16th. What day is yours?
Mine's the 3rd, so it's 13 days.
All right, so 2 weeks.
So why Curtis is actually a real dad. I am kind of the D&D dad right now as the DM because I'm herding fucking cats.
True.
And you get lost in the sauce a little bit sometimes, but hey, it is what it is. So, as we move on to more jovial topics, but thank you for your vulnerability, Curtis. I do appreciate it. What was the inspiration behind Patrice?
Patrice is a special boy. And one of the things I want, a lot of times for me, I look at mechanics first and then I make a character.
Mhm.
This time I didn't. And the first time I made a character, I didn't either. I just said, I want to do something I've never done before. In regards to, like, I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and so I was like, I've never played a hunter. That's most like a ranger. Let's try a ranger. With Patrice, it was, let's explore some of the ideas of a 19-year-old Curtis who thinks he's the shit, who thinks that he's a special little boy, and God loves him, and we're gonna solve the world's problems with Jesus. And there's a lot of that rolled into Patrice, and yeah, and that was definitely the impetus to it. And then I'm gonna crunch them numbers.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna try and break the game. And Sorcerer, good class to break the game with, that's for sure. It's really fun to look into like combinations of different things, and how that plays out. And yeah, I really enjoyed trying to fit in that idea of a young, naive, intelligent, but like everybody doesn't catch that.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't catch that out of Patrice. We've had several interactions with NPCs where they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And why? Yeah. So like that was fun for me to want to explore.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I find it interesting as I have gone through. This is one of the questions that I've asked everybody, and it's so interesting to see where their inspiration comes from. Because some of us get a chance to play more often than others. Like Matt gets to play two games for me. Like he plays every week and every other week, and so it's a lot. So his is a little bit less introspective, a little bit less complex. John is going to be John, and he's got a yes, everything's there, but he's also got this thing, and it's really complex, but it's also at the same time it's not. Dustin is just kind of like things, and interesting things, and it's just, I find it so interesting how everyone crafts their characters. It's really, really interesting. So thank you for that one. So
Mm-hmm.
to wrap up, last but not least, let me ask you, what are your hopes for the rest of campaign 1?
Oh, for the rest of campaign 1, I like. There is a part of me that wants us to TPK. Like that's real. Like I want to experience that loss in game and see it happen. That would be fun, and it would be memorable and dramatic. And I like that idea. What Patrice wants and what Curtis wants that are I think are relatively in line would be Patrice wants to Patrice wants to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's ready to by the end of the campaign, but I think his desire would be to grow up and return,
Mm-hmm.
and to be seen in a different light. And people go like, "Oh, yeah, you're no longer the person you were when you were here."
Mm-hmm.
And you're still that person, but you're more than that. And I think that Patrice is looking for a little bit of validation
Mm-hmm.
from the people he used to be with, that would be able to take who they knew him and see how he's grown into who he is now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that would be the most in line between those two. And then selfishly for myself, I want to murder a big bad evil guy too.
Yeah.
Like I like whoever it ends up being, whether it's if it's in the prison or if it's some deity that we get to punch. Like I want that knockdown drag out fight. That sounds awesome.
So I'm actually going to circle back to the first thing you said.
Okay.
Is it a TPK, or is it one of those sudden deaths that you don't expect, or it'd be just maybe even one member of the party? Is it the emotion tied around the loss that you want to experience, or is it the whole party that you want to see?
I would say both are important, and I think that I don't think the whole party has to lose to get that idea, as you're saying. I would say more than one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more than one. I would say if 2 people of our group survive, that would count. If you're taking notes, Morgan. Yeah, and Patrice definitely doesn't need to be that guy that survives. But I like that idea.
I think it would be interesting, and I never try and orchestrate things to happen this way, but
No.
I think as we think about it in a hypothetical, I think if SOA and Patrice were to be the last two, between the kind of antagonistic relationship that they have that's slowly growing into something more, and then the fact that they are essentially the most inexperienced out of the six, right? I think that would be one of those where I don't think the story could continue if just those two survived, but it'd be the one
No.
most rife with interesting storytelling opportunities.
No, I think that I agree. That is the most odd couple, but they're also the most the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like their personalities are different, but their backgrounds are the closest. Like they've experienced the least, but they're also from the same place. They have some of the same heritage. Their connection to everything greater than them is through the same being. And I think it's like they're definitely like different sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
But not like I think it would be cool if they kind of did like an odd couple thing, you know, like where they like the continuation is these guys setting up the next crew. That would be awesome.
That would be
where it's just like fucking Patrice, or like that SOA is really cool. That other guy's strange. I don't know why she keeps him around. He's a weirdo. It's because he can wrap the elements of the world around his body and make things happen. That's why.
Well, and it's not even that. It's just the trauma bond that the two of you would have.
Oh, for sure. Right? One of the words that I like for that is when you Jared and Nate and Dustin and I all have a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. Not in the same way that you would have with people that you served with. Mm-hmm. But we used to do a thing called Royal Family, where we would have foster kids come and get a break from their foster parents for a week, and their foster parents would get a break from their kids for a week. They call it respite care. So we would take all these kids up into the woods and state-sanctioned background checks, just provide a safe place for these kids to have a fantastic time. And it's hard. Mm-hmm. And there's some real what I like to call communitas of that, growing through struggle, mm-hmm. through those types of things that you can't get in a lot of other ways. That I think Patrice and SOA are going to have that communitas, and they're not going to hang out every week and go drinking together. But when they catch up together, they're going to be like, yeah, mm-hmm. I get you.
Yeah. Well, this was the heaviest of the six. I will say that. But I appreciate it. I think it's one of the most introspective of the ones that we've done. So I really appreciate it. I think we're ending on a banger. So I appreciate that, Curtis. Thank you so much. Even though you were a little bit of the worst cat I had to herd for this.
Honestly, I feel like me and Jared got the most shit going on, so it's okay that we end up second and first to last. That's totally fine.
Yeah. So with that, though, thank you everyone for joining us. If you enjoyed this, please, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. Everything's down below. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatcher, please like us, subscribe, share. Please share. And as always, if you want to engage with us more interactively, click on the links below.
Get in the Discord. There's drinks in the Discord. This drink will be in the Discord.
Yep. Yeah,
there's good shit there.
And because I only have so much time in my week, I am not able to share that on the Instagram. And so I do struggle to try and make the content that we do. But I thank you for your time, Curtis. And as always, until next time, drink well.
Drink well.